Okay, in this chapter we're going to be looking at transformations, and the first transformation we will be spending a little time on is translations. So what it means to translate is basically to take a point or a shape and just move it left, right, up, or down. So if we look at our just moving a point A is at negative 4, 4. So let's plot negative 4, 4. That means we go to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's our point A. And it says we are going to translate it 2 units down and 2 units to the right. So we're going to take that point A and go down 2 units and to the right 2 units. And after we move the shape, we label it with the same letter. We put a little apostrophe next to it that means A prime, and that means that is the shape after it has been transformed. And the ordered pair of A prime is negative 2, positive 2. Okay, so then we have point B is at negative 3, negative 2. So let's plot that. 1, 2, 3, negative 2. So there's our point B. And it says we are going to translate it 3 units to the right and 3 units up. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3 units to the right, 1, 2, 3 units up. And here we are at B. We're going to call that B prime. And the ordered pair of B prime is 0, 1. Okay, so point C, why don't you pause the video and try that one on your own and make sure that you are doing it correctly. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, so take a look at where we have our point C over here. We translated 2 units down and 2 units to the right, and our ordered pair where it ended up is at 4, 0. So when you do a translation, you're basically taking every point and moving it in the same direction. So that means that if you move one point in your triangle or quadrilateral to the left or right, you move all of them to the left or right. And when we draw these, generally speaking, if you ever see them in the textbook, the pre-image, which is your starting image, that's where you start at, is in blue, and your image is where you end up at is usually in red. And we can describe these translations in 2 ways. We can use component form, which basically looks kind of like an ordered pair. So if we had like an arrow looking like that and we had 1, 4, that means we would move to the left or right 1. In this case, that's positive 1. So we would move to the right 1, and we would move to the right 4, or excuse me, move up 4 because it is a positive 4. And if it's in coordinate form, this is the way you actually see it more often. Basically, this is saying you take every x and are going to move it plus a, however many units. X always is left and right, and then you have the other one is y. Y tells you up and down, so whatever you add or subtract tells you if you are moving up or down from there as well. So let's take a look at what that looks like on a coordinate plane. Okay, so first things first, we are going to plot our triangle ABC. So let's plot A is at 0, 3. There's point A. Point B is at 2, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And point C is at 1, 0. And so 1, 0. There's point C. We'll go ahead and connect it and make it into a triangle. Like that. And this vector, or excuse me, this notation right here is telling me 5, negative 1. That first number tells me left and right. The second number tells me up and down. Well, positive 5, positive is in the right direction, so I'm going to go to the right 5 with every one of my points. And negative 1 tells me I'm going to go down because down is negative. So I'm going to go down 1. So now I'm going to come back over here. Every one of my points. Point A, I'm going to go to the right 5 and down 1. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right and down 1. And I'm going to call that A prime. Point B, same thing. I'm going to go to the right 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1. There's my point B prime. Same thing with C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1. And you should notice that it's the exact same shape, hasn't changed size or anything, and it's just moved like you took it and pushed it over to the right and down one. So then the last thing that we need to do is find our ordered pairs after that. So point A, let's go over here, point A prime, after we've moved, is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. So the ordered pair is 5, 2, where it's at. Point B is at 7, 3, or excuse me, B prime. And C prime is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -1. And something you also might notice is if you take this x value, if it's a positive 5, if you add 5 to all of your x values, those are your x values of after you've translated it. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 plus 1 is 6. And same thing with your y value here. You're subtracting 1 each time. So if you do -3 minus 1, you would get 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. And 0 minus 1 is -1. So that's another way that you can do it also. Okay, so this time we're going to do it the other way. They give us they give us two triangles, and we are going to write the rule on how we got from the blue triangle to the red triangle. Because remember that the A, B, C is where you start. A prime, B prime, C prime with the little apostrophe after it is where you end up. So if we pick point A, here's where we started, and here's where we ended up. To get from one of the A's to the other, we went to the left 4. And then we also went up 1. So in component form, that's the one that had the little arrows on the side. Remember that first number tells you left and right. Left is negative in the negative direction, so you'd have -4. And then up in the positive direction would be 1. If we are going to write it in coordinate form, we'd say we're going to start at our regular old x and y, and we are going to go, our x is going to go to the left 4, which is negative, so we're going to go x minus 4, and our y is going to go up 1, which would be y plus 1. Okay, last one here. We're just going to practice one more time with coordinate notation. I want you to pause the video, graph points A, B, C, and D, and then you are going to translate it x plus 3y minus 1, which means you are going to go to the right 3 with every point and down 1. Why can't it record sound? Okay, hopefully you have got your first 4 points. Now we are going to translate them to the right 3 and down 1. So go ahead and pause the video and do that. So let's go ahead and find the coordinates of our new shape here. A prime is going to be at 2, 1. And if you notice, if you add 3 and subtract 1, if you add 3 and subtract 1, you'd get 2, 1. So you can also think about it that way. Point B is going to be at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's at 2, 4. C prime is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 7, 5. And D prime is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up 1. Okay, when you have finished this, there is a worksheet that you can finish that has practice with using this coordinate notation for translations that you need to finish and give to Mrs. Streifels.